Want to get a deeper read on that and the recovery for the airlines and how they return to profitability. JetBlue CEO Robin Hayes joins us live from the IATA annual meeting in Boston, where people actually traveled to get to. So that felt a little bit uplifting. Thanks for joining us, Robin. Willie Walsh saying that you guys, U.S. carriers, can be profitable next year. True?
Yes. Look, we've seen a very strong recovery this summer. In fact, JetBlue flew as much capacity this summer as we did in 2019. There's so much demand out there. As soon as government lifts some of these restrictions in a route, we see bookings come back extremely quickly. So yes, I think we have a lot of reason in the US to be very optimistic about the direction of our industry.
What is the conversation being had at IATA among global peers around vaccine passport systems, around accreditation of vaccines country to country? Because even from Canada to the U.S., there is disagreement about what constitutes a valid vaccine.
Well, first of all, it's been great that we've been here all in person, and certainly a reminder that there's nothing to beat in-person meetings. In fact, a number of us were commenting it felt a little bit like a high school reunion because we didn't obviously have our annual meeting last year. But look, I think one of the major themes that we can all agree as airlines around the world is that there is a lot of demand out there. The biggest barrier to that business is the government restrictions that are in place to prevent many forms of international travel, and not just the restrictions themselves, but how every country has a different set of restrictions, many of which are hard to understand. An example that's come up is the passenger locator form that's required for entry into the UK that I think has over 24 questions on it. And is anyone really sitting there reading those?
So talk to me, Robin, about the North Atlantic. I just mentioned that John Gray of Blackstone is going to be taking his first trip to London. How's the reopening going?
Yeah, I mean, when the UK lifted restrictions while back, we saw a lot of demand from the US end of the route for people to fly to the UK. And when the Biden administration announced the lifting of restrictions sometime in November from people coming from the UK, we saw another big increase there. So this happens. We had the Greek tourism minister here at IATA, and he talked about how quickly business came back to Greece this summer as they opened up. So lots of evidence when these restrictions go, business will come back very quickly.
It's worth kind of reiterating what you said, Robin, which is that JetBlue has added more flights than most of your major competitors. As you say, you're flying at 2019 capacity. That is better than many. How were you able to do that? Are you taking market share at this time away from some of your big rivals?
Well, first of all, JetBlue is we're 80% leisure, 20% business. So we were, and it's the leisure business that we've recovered more quickly. I also think we benefited from a very large domestic network, and certainly I think there were many people who took vacations this year. They stayed in the US because of some of these complexities of traveling internationally. And I also think people enjoy our combination of low fares and better service.
In terms of the low fares, I wonder how you keep that when higher fuel prices are really, really moving here. And is it going to make it harder to bring back capacity?
Well, I mean, you're right. We have seen a tick up in the fuel environment, fuel price of late. That obviously does increase costs for airlines, and it does come at an unfortunate time as we're recovering from a pandemic. But I'll stress again, demand out there is so strong. And, because of that, I think we're going to continue to see a lot of people wanting to fly. And so it's important that certainly JetBlue make sure we have enough capacity to meet that demand.
We have seen some non-compliance, Robin, with mask wearing and other rules on board. Some airlines suggesting that there should be no-fly lists that are shared. I know you have a list of some 400 people on a no-fly. Where do you see that going? Do you hope for improvement on that front, or is this just going to be a new, near-term reality for you?
Well, it is very challenging, and it puts our crew members in a very difficult situation. I mean, everyone understands before you get on the airplane what the rules are, and we got to comply with those rules, whether we agree with them or not. And our in-flight crew members, they don't want to be the mask police, but that's what they've become. So I know it's not particularly pleasant to sit in a mask for a long flight. I know a lot of people don't want to wear masks, but that's the federal rule, and it's our job to enforce it. And so we're going to keep making sure that where we have people that violate the federal mandate or threaten or intimidate our crew members, that we will follow up and we will hold them accountable.
Would you share that list with your peers then?
I don't think it's. I don't support airlines just sharing lists with each other. There's a number of privacy reasons around that. If the government wanted to create a central list of customers who have sort of had not compliance issues, I think that's up to them. Each airline may approach it a little bit differently. So right now, I think we feel good about where we are, which is we maintain our own list and we will follow up with those customers accordingly.
Obviously, one big issue for the industry we've seen again with other players, curious about your experience, is on the labor front. Real shortages that cause long delays as we tried to see travel return to normal. What's the status for you now?
Yeah, we've certainly seen the same challenges in our industry as everyone else. Mainly with the, companies that support us rather than us directly. We haven't seen any significant hiring issues at JetBlue. We don't expect to see that, and we're now preparing for a very, very busy 2022. We're gearing up, getting ready. We think it's going to be a very strong year.